As you can probably tell from the name, Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, is an extension of Mud Runner and Snow Runner's uniquely slow-paced brand of off-road driving simulation. These open-world trucking sims turn their swampy sandboxes into complex puzzles that will suck your hapless trucks into their boggy bowels if you make a bad decision, or overestimate the capabilities of your vehicle. The core of Expeditions is different, shelving the heavy trucking aspect and focusing instead on navigation and exploration, but the spirit is the same. That is, stay upright, don't get stuck, and if in doubt, winch your way out. After a few hours with Expeditions, it's clear that this spin-off hasn't strayed far from the Mud Runner, Snow Runner wheelhouse. It feels and looks largely the same, the controls are mostly unchanged, and it's underpinned by the same physics-based deformable ground materials. Thick mud slops around the struggling tyres. Water ripples and churns as engines vibrate and wheels spin beneath the surface. It remains great stuff. However, Expeditions carves its own path when it comes to its objectives. While scouting in smaller vehicles is something both Mud Runner and Snow Runner support, they're mostly about moving bulky cargo and building materials from facility to facility with the toughest trucks this side of Tonka. The handful of missions I've played in Expeditions indicate a shift away from that. Expeditions still casts us as experienced off-road truckers, but here we're part of a research team as opposed to a dedicated trucking company. So far in Expeditions, I've spent my time delivering scientific equipment, discovering new sites and effective routes, and rescuing drowned trucks that have conked out following unsuccessful water crossings. Mission selection and preparation seems a little more approachable here than it is in the likes of Snow Runner, which is probably indicative of Expeditions' aim to serve as an entry point into the series for new players. It's certainly feasible that there'll be folks who find themselves engaged by Expeditions as a technical driving sim with a clearer list of objectives who may not have necessarily been attracted to the time-consuming, heavy-hauling aspect of the main games in the past. There are 3 maps in Expeditions: Colorado, Arizona, and Central Europe's Carpathian Mountains, and they're already distinct from the environments of Mud Runner and Snow Runner by being noticeably more untamed. That is, while the environments of its predecessors felt like sparsely populated rural areas after several weeks of bad weather, Expeditions is more frontier-like. Like, you may not need roads with the vehicles you're in, but there still aren't any regardless. How do you get over this mountain? You figure it out. Will your truck be able to climb out of this creek bed? Sure hope so. It's a feeling that may fade after more time in the environments, but for now I've enjoyed the uncertainty. It appears we'll come across hints of previous travellers, like jury-rigged totems that, say, indicate the best route down a rocky hillside, but otherwise there's an effective feeling that you and your team are alone out in the wilderness. There are some new tools to tackle that wilderness in Expeditions, including a jack you can use to recover from overturning, and anchors that can be sunk into the ground to provide winch points when there aren't any trees within range. There's also a drone we can use to scout the area ahead, plus a device to assist river fording that charts the depth of water around vehicles with coloured spikes. Expeditions also introduces the ability to control your tyre pressure on the fly, allowing us to extract even more grip out of them in the toughest rock climbs and slipperiest mud. There's a visual change for tyres when you release air too. The wheels drop and the sidewalls bulge under the weight. It'd be fair to be concerned about Expeditions if it represented a permanent pivot away from the traditional theme of the series, but positioned as a complementary experience to Snow Runner as opposed to a replacement, it shows a lot of promise. Be ready to get stuck into Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, in early March. For more on Expeditions, you can check out the official reveal trailer, and if you're unfamiliar with these tricky trucking sims, check out our review of 2020's excellent Snow Runner. For everything else, stick with IGN.